to F-Bomb Friday. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with my husband, Todd. Hey, hun.
Hey, baby.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's hit it. The wind comes first in Marquette, Michigan. Not the kind that whistles politely through the trees. No, this is the kind that comes off Lake Superior like something alive, cold, heavy, ancient. It rattles windows on calm summer nights and screams through alleyways in the dead of winter. It rolls over black water, carrying stories with it. Stories of missing sailors, shipwrecks, lonely lighthouses, and people who vanish without explanation. If you've ever stood on the shoreline in Marquette after dark, you know exactly what I mean. The lake feels bigger at night. Too big. Like it's watching you. And high above the city streets, overlooking the harbor and the restless water beyond, sits one of the most beautiful historic hotels in Michigan, the Old Landmark Inn. It's elegant, historic, romantic, and according to countless guests and employees over the years, haunted. Because somewhere on the 6th floor, near a room wrapped in soft purple decor and old world charm, people claim there is still a woman waiting for footsteps that never returned, waiting for a sailor lost to Superior, waiting so long that grief itself became a ghost. On today's episode of F-Bomb Friday, we are going to climb those old staircases, walk those silent hallways, and step into one of the Upper Peninsula's most enduring paranormal legends. This is the legend of the Lilac Lady. Now, Marquette has always been a city shaped by the lake. Before tourists filled the breweries and coffee shops, before Northern Michigan University expanded across town, before ghost hunters started carrying EMF readers through historic buildings, Marquette was already listening to Lake Superior. Marquette was a rough port town. Iron ore, shipping, hard winters, harder men. Everything revolved around the water, and Lake Superior has never been a forgiving place. People who didn't grow up around the Great Lakes sometimes underestimate them. They hear the word lake and picture something peaceful, a place to fish, to swim, maybe rent a pontoon boat on vacation. But Superior is different. Superior is an inland ocean. Storms rise fast, waves climb like walls. Fog rolls in without warning, and the cold, even in summer, can kill you in minutes. There's an old saying around the Great Lakes: Superior never gives up her dead. And when you hear enough shipwreck stories, enough tales of missing fishermen, enough accounts of boats swallowed whole without a trace, you start to understand why people in the Upper Peninsula speak about the lake almost like it's a person, a hungry one. By the 1920s and 30s, Marquette was booming. Shipping traffic moved constantly through the harbor, carrying ore and timber across the lakes. Sailors drifted in and out of town. Hotels thrived. And in 1930, a towering luxury hotel opened overlooking the city. Back then, it was called the Northland Hotel. Today, we know it as the Landmark Inn. It immediately became the place to stay in Marquette. It had elegant ballrooms, lavish rooms. Celebrities, musicians, politicians, and travelers from all over the Midwest passed through its doors. Over the decades, famous names reportedly stayed there. Amelia Earhart, Abbott and Costello, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, and even members of the Rolling Stones. But history has a strange habit. The older the building gets, the more memories it keeps. And eventually, stories started attaching themselves to the 6th floor, especially one room, the Lilac Room. Now, depending on who tells the story, the details change. That's how folklore works. Some versions say she was a librarian. Others claim she was a young woman from town. In one telling, she was wealthy. In another, she worked inside the hotel itself. But nearly every version agrees on one thing. She fell in love with a sailor. And one day, he never came back. Maybe his ship disappeared in a storm. Maybe he drowned. Or maybe he simply vanished into Superior like so many others before him. No body, no closure, just silence. And eventually, the grief consumed her. One version of the legend says she tied lilac pattern napkins together and ended her life near the window of the room. Another claims she simply died of heartbreak. But after her death, people began reporting strange things. Calls from empty rooms, footsteps in vacant hallways, a woman in a floral gown standing near the window, and always the smell of lilacs. Not overpowering, just faint, soft like perfume lingering in cold air, enough to make the hair on your arms rise. Because scent is strange. Of all the human senses, smell may be the one most deeply tied to memory. One whiff can drag you backward 20 years. An old perfume, cigarette smoke, grandma's kitchen, rain on hot pavement. And according to guests at the Landmark, sometimes the 6th floor suddenly smells like fresh lilacs for absolutely no reason, even in the dead of winter. Now, if you've ever visited the Upper Peninsula, you should understand something about old hotels up there. They creak constantly. Pipes knock. Elevators groan. Wood settles. The wind coming off Superior can make an entire building sound alive. Now, skeptics argue the haunting stories are just imagination mixed with atmosphere. And honestly, that's reasonable. Put someone in a historic hotel overlooking a black, freezing lake at 2 o'clock in the morning, tell them a ghost story, and their brain is going to do some work on its own. But employees have shared their stories also, and that changes things because staff members know the building. They know the normal sounds. They know which elevator sticks, which hallway echoes, which doors swell in humidity. And yet, the stories kept piling up. One of the oldest claims involves the hotel switchboard. According to legend, the front desk would occasionally receive phone calls from the lilac room, only for staff to discover nobody was inside. No guest, no prank, no explanation. Just a ringing line from a room that should have been silent. Now imagine working that overnight desk. 2:30 in the morning, snow falling outside. Lake Superior is hidden in the darkness. You answer the phone. Silence. Maybe static. Maybe breathing. Then nothing. You check the room. Empty. No television playing. No open window. No person waiting on the other side of the door. Just a cold room, smelling faintly of flowers. Yeah, that will stay with you. And the 6th floor itself seems to carry most of the stories. Guests have described flickering lights in the hallway, cold spots, that unmistakable sensation of being watched. Some claim they've seen a woman standing near the window before disappearing. Others report waking in the middle of the night with that feeling that someone was standing beside the bed. That alone is terrifying because almost everyone has experienced that at least once, waking suddenly for no reason, heart racing, certain you are not alone. And maybe it's just your brain misfiring between sleep stages. Or maybe some ancient instinct is still buried deep inside us from the days when waking suddenly in the dark meant something dangerous was nearby. Either way, when people experience that inside a supposedly haunted room, their imagination fills in the rest. But here's where the Lilac Lady legend becomes more interesting than a typical ghost story. It isn't violent. She isn't described as malicious. No demonic growling, no claw marks, no possession. Most stories describe her as sad, lonely, still waiting. And honestly, that might be creepier because sorrow lingers. Think about the emotional weight attached to the Great Lakes. Entire families disappeared on those waters. The Upper Peninsula is filled with memorials to shipwrecks and lost sailors. Even today, storms on Superior can feel genuinely frightening. Stand on the shore during November gales, and you understand immediately why old sailors became superstitious. There's something ancient about the lake in bad weather. It feels wrong, like nature stripped down to raw indifference. And maybe that's why the Lilac Lady story survived, because it represents something deeply familiar to people in the region. Waiting, for someone who never comes home. The Great Lakes are filled with those stories. Wives waiting, mothers waiting, children standing at shorelines hoping to see the ships return through the fog. Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. And in the days before modern communication, you might wait weeks before learning the truth, or never learn it at all. Just imagine that kind of uncertainty. No closure, no body, no certainty, only endless cold water stretching to the horizon. That kind of loss can destroy people. And folklore has always found ways to preserve emotional truths. That's what ghost stories really are. Emotional scars wrapped in supernatural clothing. And the Lilac Lady became Marquette's ghostly symbol of loss. And the Lilac Lady became Marquette's ghostly symbol of loss. Now, over the years, paranormal investigators have naturally been drawn to the landmark inn. Once a place develops a reputation, ghost hunters tend to follow. And the hotel has leaned into the legend at times, not aggressively, but enough that the story became part of local culture. Visitors ask for the Lilac Room specifically. Some want a paranormal experience. Others just love the history. And honestly, even if you don't believe in ghosts at all, staying in a historic hotel during a Lake Superior storm probably feels haunted anyway. Picture this, 3 o'clock in the morning, wind hammering the windows, ice forming along the harbor, the old building groaning around you, a dim hallway lit by antique fixtures, and somewhere down the corridor, the faint smell of lilacs. Your brain starts connecting dots whether you want it to or not. And there's another important piece here. Marquette itself feels designed for ghost stories. Fog rolling off the lake, old ore docks, historic cemeteries, lonely highways cutting through pine forests, lighthouses, abandoned mining areas. The Upper Peninsula already feels separated from the rest of the country in some strange, emotional way. Remote, quiet, almost timeless, especially at night. And that isolation matters. Urban legends thrive in places where nature still feels dominant. And in the UP, nature always wins. There are stretches of highway where there's nothing but forest for miles. No lights, no houses, just darkness. And inside that darkness, people tell stories. That's really how legends stay alive, isn't it? Not because everyone believes them literally, but because they become part of local identity. The Lilac Lady is Marquette's version of that. Tragedy transformed into folklore. Naturally, skeptics have explanations. The phone calls? Old switchboard glitches. The scents? Cleaning products or perfume residue. The apparitions? Misidentified reflections in antique mirrors or darkened windows. Cold spots? Old heating systems in a historic building. All perfectly reasonable. And yet, the stories continue. One guest claims they woke to see a woman standing at the foot of the bed in floral clothing before she vanished. Another described hearing footsteps pacing the hallways, despite nobody being present. Some employees reportedly refused to spend unnecessary time alone on the 6th floor late at night. And that's another fascinating part of paranormal folklore. Even people who don't fully believe still avoid tempting fate. Because human beings are strange like that. We say ghosts aren't real, then sprint upstairs after turning off the basement lights. We laugh at hauntings, then refuse to look into dark mirrors for too long. Part of us always wonders. And old buildings feed that instinct beautifully, especially buildings connected to tragedy. Now, here's something worth considering. The Lilac Lady story probably evolved over time through repeated retellings. One employee tells a guest about a strange phone call. That guest tells friends. A local newspaper mentions it. Someone adds a detail. A paranormal blog repeats the newer version. And eventually, the story becomes bigger than its origins. Now that doesn't make it fake. It makes it folklore. There's a difference. Folklore doesn't survive because it's proven. It survives because it resonates. The best legends always contain human truth, and this one absolutely does. Loss, loneliness, waiting, hope refusing to die. That's universal. And then there's the symbolism of lilacs themselves. Lilacs traditionally symbolize first love, remembrance, mourning, and memory, which makes this legend strangely poetic, especially in Michigan, where lilacs thrive throughout northern communities and carry deep cultural associations across the region. Their bloom season is short, beautiful, fragrant, temporary, kind of perfect for a ghost story, really. Something beautiful that fades too quickly. Just like the relationship at the center of the legend. And maybe that's why the story endures. Not because people truly believe a ghost is dialing the hotel switchboard, but because the imagery stays with you. A lonely woman in a floral dress, staring out toward Lake Superior, waiting for a ship that will never return. That image feels cinematic, melancholy, timeless. And if you visit Marquette, you can almost imagine it yourself, especially during foggy evenings along the waterfront, the city lights reflecting against the lake, cold wind cutting through downtown, the Landmark Inn towering above Front Street. You look up at those upper windows and suddenly, the story doesn't feel ridiculous anymore. That's the power of setting. Place matters in folklore, and the Upper Peninsula doesn't have to work very hard to feel haunted. Of course, the Lilac Lady isn't the only ghost story attached to Marquette. The city is filled with them. The Marquette Harbor Lighthouse has its own paranormal legends involving ghostly sightings. Old cemeteries throughout the area carry stories of apparitions and strange lights. And Northern Michigan University has decades of campus hauntings tied to dormitories and historic buildings. So naturally, once a town embraces supernatural folklore, every unexplained sound starts becoming evidence. But the Lilac Lady remains the most famous, probably because Her story is tragic rather than terrifying. She isn't a monster. She's a heartbreak frozen in time. And that emotional angle is what makes people remember her. If you ever speak to longtime Ubers about ghost stories, you'll notice something interesting. Most don't dramatically insist ghost stories are real. Instead, they'll say things like, well, I don't know what I saw. Or, there's definitely something strange there. That ambiguity matters because uncertainty keeps legends alive longer than certainty ever could. If everyone fully believed, the story would stop being mysterious. If everyone fully dismissed it, the story would die. Instead, it survives in that perfect middle ground. Maybe true, maybe not. And that's exactly where good ghost stories belong. And maybe that's the strangest part of all of this. Not the stories, not the sightings, not the whispers drifting through old Marquette neighborhoods after midnight. It's the fact that the Lilac Lady never truly feels gone. Some legends fade, they soften with time. They become dusty little tales people tell around bonfires or over drinks in old bars near the lake. But some stories refuse to die. They linger because the place itself refuses to let go of them. And Marquette has always been a city built on memory, a longtime neighbor of Lake Superior, of lonely mining roads, of cold cemeteries hidden beneath thick pine trees, of old Victorian homes that creak in the wind like they're trying to speak. And somewhere in all of that, there's still the scent of lilacs. Maybe it's just flowers blooming in the Upper Peninsula summer air, or maybe it's something else. Because the people who claim they've seen her all describe the same feeling afterward. A sudden stillness, a strange sadness, and the overwhelming sense that they were standing in the presence of someone searching for something she lost a very long time ago. Maybe the Lilac Lady is a ghost. Maybe she's folklore stitched together from grief, isolation, and generations of retold stories. Or maybe she's become something larger than either of those things, a living piece of Michigan mythology, the kind that survives because people keep seeing shadows where shadows shouldn't exist. And tonight, somewhere in Marquette, someone may be driving down a quiet road with their windows cracked just enough to let in the cool, superior air, and suddenly they catch it. That unmistakable smell of lilacs. There's no garden nearby, no flowers in sight, just that scent, sweet, familiar, impossible. And for one brief moment, they stop breathing. Because deep down, every person who's heard this legend knows the same thing. Grief can linger like the scent of lilacs on the cold night air. Soft, haunting, and impossible to forget. The Lilac Lady ghost. Never heard of that before.
I think I have, and I'm not sure if I heard through our circles of people that do the paranormal investigations or not, but it did definitely grab my attention, especially being in Marquette. I spent some time up there when I was a teenager because that's where we had our football camp. But I never really had a chance to explore the Marquette area, but I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to go back and check it out. It's right there on Lake Superior.
Well, how far over the bridge?
It's a little ways. So
North and west?
North and west, yeah. So it's like, I would say right toward the center of the Upper Peninsula, at the very top of it.
I've only been over the bridge in St. Ignace area.
Okay.
That's it.
I mean, Lake Superior is prime haunting fuel. I mean, with as many lives that have been lost through the ages, it's no joke. None of the Great Lakes are anything to
Shake a stick at.
shake a stick at, but Lake Superior she's the queen, that's for sure.
You know, I keep seeing in my mind this woman waiting and waiting and waiting. And it reminds me of being in Key West.
Yeah.
They have the Widow's Walk
Okay.
on the top of some of these old historic homes down there. And they would do the same thing.
Right.
They would go up there every night and they would wait and wait and watch and wait. It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking.
It's a bit of a repetitive ghost story because I think that, especially in the day and age, that was something that happened. And we talked about this before, where lack of communication, when somebody was lost at sea, or in this case, one of the Great Lakes, it could be weeks before you heard the news, found out what happened to the person that you loved, and sometimes you never found out.
Right. No cell phones, no internet.
Yeah.
Well, they probably had phones, but what are you going to do? Wait for a bird to drop you a note? I mean, come on.
There's this famous quote about the risk of love is loss.
True. Hey, by the way, what are you all doing on June 6th? Do you have any plans, hon?
I do have plans. We have plans.
What are we doing?
We're going to be at a haunting in Reotown, Lansing, Michigan.
That's right, and it's actually the 5th annual Haunting Reotown at Marketplace.
That's right.
Hosted by our amazing friends, the Baron and Cindy Knight.
And last year was our first year, and we were attendees.
That's right.
And this year we are actually guests, so
That's right. We're actually going to be a vendor and a guest speaker,
that's right.
along with some pretty cool people.
Some fascinating, cool people.
So who are they?
So we've got Ben and his crew with Crossroads of Curiosity.
Nicole Bouchon, an amazing author.
Amazing author.
Our new friend, Rick Wade.
Rick Wade, he's cool, super cool dude.
And I'm going to tell you right now and get my past lives read.
Yeah, so he does past life readings. He sees energies. I mean, he's just all around cool dude.
That's right. And there's going to be a special appearance by Sewer, who's so not right.
He is unright.
That's right. He's unright. And then we've got Thurston FX.
Yeah, Ryan Thurston from Thurston Effects, fabulous sculptor.
Unbelievable Halloween masks
Yeah.
this guy makes, and sculptures.
Does it all by hand. It's just amazing. And he's going to be giving a presentation on how to make masks.
No way.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm going to have to sit in on that one. In fact, I'm sitting in on all of them.
Right.
We're going to have to take turns.
Yeah.
But this is a free event, everyone. So again, June 6th, Saturday. So I know you don't have any plans,
Yeah.
but now you do.
11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So there's guest speakers like we just talked about. There's a haunted museum tour, which I will tell you affected me, which I did not expect.
Oh, yeah.
I actually felt a lot of pressure on my chest for a handful of hours. There's vendors, as we mentioned, Jezebel Creations.
Yep.
There's also cosplay, so if you guys want to get dressed up, tarot readings, and paranormal investigation, which we are also going to be a part of.
And then you got Voodoo's World of Oddities. It's a crazy, creepy, cool store with all kinds of odds and ends and everything macabre. I mean,
There's some cool shit in that store.
There's some cool shit in that store.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, it's a free event. However, if you want to buy tickets for any of the guest speakers, museum tours, and the tarot readings, those are extra. But they're great prices to see an amazing presentation by a guest speaker.
Yeah.
I know I've got a new fan coming.
Yeah.
Can't wait to meet her.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
She knows who you are. You know who you are.
Check out our Facebook page. We have the information on the event on our page, and you can go directly to the event page as well. We have the link on there. So it's going to be a great time.
Do you want to sign us out?
I sure do. You better lock your doors. You better lock your windows. And you might want to check under your bed.
And if you smell lilacs tonight, just enjoy. So have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, everyone. And we will see you again on Malice Monday.
We will see you on Monday.